welcome everybody. Day 2. How is everybody doing? We loved your comments from yesterday. Thank you so much. It was just motivating for us to read afterwards. So keep up the chatter, and we're excited to share day 2 with you, where we dig into sleep. So what happens in your body when you sleep, and when you're not sleeping, what is happening to your metabolism? How are your sleep rhythms affecting your weight?
And today we really want you to leave with new knowledge that you're going to be able to apply to your wellness, your weight loss, your sleep habits, obviously, and some techniques you guys can start using tonight to get a good night's sleep. So that's what we're going to be diving into today.
A reminder that what we share with you is not medical advice. We are your naturopathic doctors, who we would like to be, but always speak to us in private before personalizing what we talk about today.
And then we're going to go over our homework recap. So it was so awesome to see a bunch of you guys took pictures of your homework tracking and submitted that to the Facebook group. So those were awesome to see, but now we want you to pull out yours now. And for those of us who are here with us, we're going to ask you some questions that you can put into the chat box. So our first question from the chart is, what time did you wake up this morning? There you can see there. So what time did you wake up this morning, and was it with an alarm or without? So you can just type in, for me, it was 5:30 a.m. and no.
So see your answers coming through.
Yeah.
4 a.m. Elizabeth.
But no alarm.
Yeah.
Yeah, awesome. Okay, so we're seeing everything coming in. And then, yeah, awesome.
So great to see all your names. Hi, Celeste, Tamara.
Yeah, hi, Tamara. So nice to see you guys.
Anna. Awesome.
Yeah, and then, okay, so then when did you go to bed last night, and when were you in bed, and when did you fall asleep?
So breaking it out, do 2 parts to your answer. In bed, fell asleep.
Yeah, what time were you in bed? What time did you fall asleep?
Nobody's in? Oh, there we go.
Yeah, no, they're coming in. Yeah, so 10 in bed, asleep around 10:45, 9 and 10. Okay, good. So we're seeing kind of how long it's taking some of us to fall asleep.
11 p.m. and then 11:05.
Oh, wow, that was quick.
5-minute sleep time. We're going to be talking about how long should it take you to fall asleep.
Yeah.
And then moving on to the light question. So when did you first expose your eyes, your brain to light this morning? Blue, white, or red? That was a really great question that came up yesterday. Even Dr. Kira and I went home and just looked into it. You know, we're fascinated by light if you come to our office at Higher Health. And so white, blue, and red. And the way we can simplify it is, white light is what you get exposed to outside, and it's more full spectrum light. So it has red, it has blue. And so it's like that, all of the colors combined end up becoming white, right? So that's full spectrum light. We talk a lot about red light as sunrise and sunset. So that's a hue that people don't get exposed to enough. How often are you seeing the sunrise? How often the sunset? And so bringing in more of that red spectrum light to help ignite your circadian rhythm. And then blue light is actually the light in SAD light, so seasonal affective disorder, stimulating an uplifting mood. So when we're outside in the white light, it's the blue light that's really waking us up and helping us feel more alert. And so the problem is, if you're not getting enough full spectrum light, which includes blue, includes red, then you are more sensitive to your screens at night, to the blue light. So you want to be exposed to more light during the day to get that full spectrum, so that screen times don't affect you as much.
Mm-hmm. And then even a reminder on the, we touched on this yesterday, but even if it's like gray and raining and seems dark outside, because you might think, oh, there's no point in going out there, like it's gray, but actually the frequency, like you're still getting that white light, like you're still getting the benefits of it. So it's still.
I love that comment you said yesterday, because case in point, I was feeling, oh no, I'm not getting it's gray, and I did not go outside, but it's a reminder, no, yes, it's still important and it's still beneficial. So thank you for reminding me, Dr. Kira.
And then lots of chat too about like how long is enough. And really it's as much as you're going to do. So 5 minutes, if that's all you have time for, is great. If you can get 20 minutes, amazing. You know, if you're a fellow dog walker like me, we have an edge on that because we're definitely getting out in the morning and getting a bit of a walk in. But really any time that you have is great.
And then the mindset question, how do we do here? We want you to share 3 words, get into the habit of practicing this, set 3 words in the morning, you're lying in bed, before you get out of bed, or when you're drying your hair. And the more you pick 3 words, the more you'll see your context of wellness grow. So different words might pop up the more you practice it. You'll start with regular ones like today, I want to feel energized, light, happy, but you may then actually get to other unique words like today, I want to notice. That was the word here when we were talking this morning. So I had an unusual word that came up this morning, but I can't remember what it is. So it was noticing.
I love that.
Yeah. So being present, noticing more. One day I chose the word silence to just sit and receive and take in versus feel like I have to speak and say. So share our words with us. Share your words with us. 3 words. Love it, Celeste. Restore, focus, centered. Elizabeth, I'm waiting for yours.
I love centered. I love that one. Committed.
Perfect.
That's
Keep
great.
them coming in.
Yeah, it's nice to see them coming in. And so again, just welcome to everybody here. So there's so many familiar faces, which is so great to see you guys back. It's nice to see even in the comments you guys engaging with each other, which is great, but also new challengers joining us. So we love seeing the community grow and the comments coming in. So it's so great to have you all here, and it's great to see your words here: light, peaceful, calm.
Elizabeth, okay, you made me laugh with your movement. We're always talking about movement for metabolism. So thanks for the giggle. And honestly, as Kira said, and we said at the beginning, your comments fuel us. We read the chat lines at the end of the presentation. We read them on Facebook and through your emails, and it's just excitement building. So thank you. You are motivating us. Some quick housekeeping notes from yesterday. There were some questions. We want to make sure you know we're touching on everything. So even if we can't get to it in the presentation, we see it afterwards. And so these were a few that came up yesterday. Several people asked about menopause and body changes and mentioned how weight loss goals are harder now. So, or how the body has shifted and you can't seem to shake it. So yes, in menopause, there are specific hormone challenges and so menopause, and I'll say andropause, men and women. So there are hormone changes that make this harder. Lower estrogen increases abdominal belly fat. For men, actually, their testosterone is converting too quickly to estrogen. So that's where the belly fat gains, as well as cortisol. So each hormone has a fat deposit for where it happens. But there's more than just estrogen, progesterone, testosterone, which you are probably more familiar with. We're going to share some other ones you haven't thought about. And just speaking to the question about hysterectomy, it doesn't matter because there are many hormones in your body. So if you've had a hysterectomy, it really just means you don't have your ovaries and your uterus, and men, you don't have them either. But you have your adrenals, you have hunger and fullness hormones, I'm not going to give away the other hormones we're going to talk about. So this is for everyone, and what we're sharing is about bringing your body back into balance, circadian rhythms, body rhythms for metabolism. Okay, so do you want to talk about those hormones now? Okay, feeding in.
Oh, sorry, I thought you did.
I didn't give them away. I was letting you do it.
Right. So we all kind of talk a lot about those ones with the testosterone, estrogen, and progesterone, but today we're going to dive even deeper into some that maybe you haven't thought about for metabolism. So hormones like cortisol, insulin, melatonin, and then our hunger hormones, so leptin and ghrelin. So we're going to dive into those. So hopefully we'll learn about some new hormones that have to do with your metabolism and weight loss. It's all about the wellness for weight loss that we're focusing on today.
We loved the question about energy, being curious about energy and weight. That's perfect. So come to us, tell us you want to improve your energy. Mostly people come in talking about weight first, and we like to educate that wellness side that, okay, it's an energy goal, a sleep goal, and all of that will feed into your weight loss goals. So try to branch out. When you say you want to lose weight, branch it out to wellness.
Yeah. I love that. And even that, again, like how we love that energy, the energy and hormones and piece there, because it's also like we all know when we have more energy and you're feeling better, then you can implement a lot of the things that you know are going to help you to like achieve those goals that you have with your body.
Actually, that's an important question. What is more important to you, energy or weight? I asked it a while back, and I really enjoyed seeing the answers. It was a mix of both. Some people said, well, when I'm at my ideal weight, as I envision it, I will have more energy. And we would look at it that when you have more energy, you can more likely reach your metabolism. But it really is both. It's a harmony between the two. So,
yeah,
but share with us what's more important to you. There's no right answer.
Yeah, share in the chat. Okay, so today, we want to know like why is sleep so important for weight loss? And what we're going to cover is that sleep is so important for repair. It's our repair and recovery time. So we're going to go a lot more in tomorrow in terms of cellular function, but that's, you know, overnight when we're getting good sleep, that's when we're repairing and recovering. So we're reducing inflammation and oxidative stress. Now, the sleep is also important for our hormone regulation. So for regulating those hormones, the cortisol, the progesterone, the melatonin, the insulin, and then these hunger and fullness hormones, the ghrelin and the leptin. So this is like why we care so much about sleep for our wellness and our weight loss.
I just love the names ghrelin and leptin. Yeah. They make me curious right away.
They sound like little monsters, like ghrelin.
I know. The Goonies. I love the Goonies.
Totally.
Okay, stubborn weight. It stems from stubborn sleep. Key take-home point, and we're going to get your sleep back on track. Also, share with us what your sleep struggles are, because we're going to read all of your comments after, as we said, and so let us know exactly where you're struggling with sleep. So we're teaching you today what you may not have explored when it comes to actually receiving the quality of sleep you need in order to facilitate weight loss. We want to remind your body of your inherent circadian rhythms for sleep. And modern living throws us off this circadian rhythm in many ways. And sleep, you know, it's interesting when weight loss is a goal, we automatically go first to nutrition. Maybe we go to exercise, right? But no, let's go to sleep today and beyond, and help your friends have an awareness of the importance of sleep to their metabolism. We're going to talk about the ins and outs of melatonin for sleep, weight loss, and wellness. Melatonin is like, it's my new love. And when we were in naturopathic school, Kira, I don't know about you, but we talked about if we had a child, what our the child's name would be. And a botanical medicine I loved through school was Shisandra. So I joked about Shisandra being, if I had a girl, Shisandra. We did not name her Shisandra. Anyway, I would say melatonin might be a name now. I just can't say enough about melatonin for many reasons. I know what your baby name would be. Progesterone.
Maybe.
Yeah. Okay, so progesterone and parasympathetic sleep mode, how to time nutrition for optimal sleep and hunger hormones. So the leptin and ghrelin you'll learn more about, and how to bring everything back in sync. Great to see the comments. Sleep is okay. It's challenging. Challenge is getting enough. And then shift work. Great question.
Staying in a deep sleep all night. For sure. Okay. So here we have some questions for you. We're going to have 3 important questions for you. So to find out how well you're sleeping. So our first question is, when do you go to bed, and how long does it take you to fall asleep? So this is a question that we asked earlier, because this is on the tracking sheet. So we saw different answers. There was that one where it took 5 minutes to fall asleep, which is very good. And some were a little bit longer. And I find that people are quite surprised to know, I guess, how long it should take you is about 20 minutes. 20-ish minutes is about how long it should take you from when you get into bed to falling asleep. But with these days where we have so many, like we're on lights really late before, sorry, we're on our screens really late before bed, maybe we're doing work. So really in that 20 minutes from getting into bed and falling asleep, you don't want anything between you and your sleep, right? So like the no screens, no phone, no book. That's kind of, that we can judge that as how good, how well you're doing in terms of falling asleep.
Mm-hmm. Okay, the second question. Sorry, we didn't. Oh no, we're not on the second question yet. Okay, so I just wanted to also remind in here, time outdoors during the day helps your sleep and sensitivity to light at night. So just a reminder, it's not all about bedtime routines. It's your morning routines and your day routines that set up your sleep. So yeah, no phone, no screen, and even the comment, no book. But look at what you did earlier in the day, and did you have enough light then, which is going to help you be less sensitive to any light close to bedtime.
Mm-hmm.
What are the main culprits of, so we've had the 5-minute person, which now we're just astounded by that. No, but 20 minutes, 5 to 20 minutes or longer. What are the main culprits of delayed sleep? So what affects you? What causes you to not to have what we call onset insomnia?
I feel like one of the most common things I hear from people is the mind racing, right? The monkey mind before bed. So that's really that like stress cortisol piece. So it's the cortisol dysregulation. So if you find yourself lying in bed and your mind just kind of starts racing, that can be one thing that has trouble falling asleep. If you eat too late, so if you're eating kind of right before bed, that actually causes your body temperature to rise. So that can make it trouble sleeping. Alcohol, unfortunately, alcohol also has some, I mean, some people do fall asleep right away, but it doesn't help you get into deep sleep as well.
I think alcohol makes you wake around 1 to 2 to 3 a.m. It's the liver time. And we had a great comment from a male actually on our Facebook page about tracking through the Aura ring. So if you don't know about Aura rings, or there's the Whoop, there's different devices to track your sleep. It does look at your body temperature, and any alcohol, you'll see a raise in temperature. And just notice what time you do wake, and it's probably in that 11 to 3 range, not 11, sorry, like 1 to 3.
1 to 3, yeah, definitely. You think it's helping your sleep, and then you're just waking up. And then do too much bright light in the evening, which we've definitely covered, because that's going to activate receptors in your brain, which is going to decrease the melatonin production. So those are a lot of the common things that are going to make it harder to fall asleep right away.
And did you say too little physical activity? Sorry if I missed that. So
no, I didn't. I missed that
activity in the day will also affect your ability to fall asleep. Second question, how many times do you wake up during the night? So
yeah, let's hear from you.
Yes, and we call this fragmented sleep.
1 to 2.
Whether it's it's happening on your own, or if there's external factors, like a 2-year-old in my house. At 2 a.m. we say hello to each other. Okay, so main culprits of waking frequently in the night would be dehydration. A great reason why we love IV vitamin therapy here at Higher Health, and also just really focusing on getting enough water during the day.
And at the right time, I will say, because sometimes overhydration right before bed. So if you're drinking your water, I'm reminding people to kind of, like, we're doing a screen curfew, like a water one as well, just because you don't want to drink a huge glass of water right before bed, and then you'll probably wake up at 1 or 2 or 3. Yeah,
and if you're at your desk and you have a choice between a sip of coffee or tea and a sip of water, which do you go for? So go to that sip of water. Or you're out at a restaurant and you have a glass of wine in front of you, go to your water first every time you sip a glass of wine. So just, or whatever it is, but hydration during the day. Room temperature being too hot or too cold. And this also will impact your body. So you want a cooler, you'll naturally have a cooler body temperature while you're sleeping. So set that environment for yourself. And then we said above that food and alcohol raise your temperature. So anything you can do to cool your temperature before bed. Digestion. So acid reflux can be, so people can wake in the middle of the night because of burping or gas or reflux symptoms, and it's caused by eating too late at night, among other factors, but we're going to be talking more about when to stop eating before bed. Sleeping with a pet and snoring or sleep apnea, whether it's yourself or your partner, and then just other noises. And also with sleep apnea, often, or snoring, often it is caused by weight and inflammation.
Yeah. And then our third question is, do you feel refreshed on waking in the morning? So share with us there. And that gives us a really good idea, as well as the quality of sleep that you're getting through the night. So if you're waking up and you're feeling refreshed, then you're probably getting into a good quality of sleep through the night. But if not, then there's work to be done there.
And this is where light can help. My mom was just saying this morning, she's participating along with these presentations. Is your mom, Kira?
No, she should be though.
She can watch the recordings afterwards. It can be Thanksgiving dinner conversation. She has her homework before Thanksgiving. Okay, so my mom was just saying, you know, when I go right to the light, I just feel like I'm ready to go and get outside. But she's often a culprit of waking up, staying inside, working away, whatever. So she's more focused now of making sure she gets the light first thing, and she does notice a difference with it.
I do agree with that too, because I think that there are some people, like I hear this from patients a lot, that they do feel, and they've kind of always been that way, like it's really hard to get up. So you might feel groggy first thing, but then if you're getting that light exposure within the first kind of 20 minutes, and then you're feeling a bit more like bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, then that's probably a good sign that you're getting a good deep sleep.
So for the people who don't feel refreshed first thing in the morning, set yourself just a goal of what you might try based on what we've said. So look at when you do first get to light and see if you can make it earlier, or like the red light we really love, because you can be groggy in front of it. You can just get up, just go there, and afterwards you have that hit, or the blue light. So set yourself a goal if you're not feeling refreshed, or an action plan of what you can do. Okay, where are we at? We wanted to talk a little bit about ghrelin and leptin.
So we wanted to share about these other hormones that maybe you guys are aware of, but maybe not. So and how sleep affects them. So ghrelin and leptin. So ghrelin is kind of our hunger hormone. So that's the one that's released when our stomach is empty. It kind of signals to us that we're hungry. It gets those centers in the brain fired up. So we want to look for food. Then leptin is actually released from our fat cells, and it's our kind of satiety hormone. So it tells us when we've had enough. And so if you don't get enough sleep at night, it actually causes dysregulation in these hormones. So it can increase ghrelin levels, so you're kind of constantly searching for food, and then decrease leptin levels, so you're not getting that amount of satiety that you would normally reach at that amount. So it's just kind of cool to know that there are these hormones that are impacted by our sleep. And again, it's just another reason why we really want to focus on sleep and just make sure that we're prioritizing this as part of our overall wellness plan, and how this really does bleed out to other areas of our health.
Yeah, your sleep is going to regulate your hormones, your hunger, and your fullness. I also know with weight, it's like when you're trying so hard to lose weight, you can be extra focused on it, and it's all you think about, and that's going to disrupt your sleep. That's going to disrupt your food choices. Weight loss success happens when you can disconnect from that, and you're just in your normal rhythm. It's like you don't care as much about this rigid focus to weight loss or food or what you have to do. You're just in rhythm and enjoying wellness. So speaking of that, circadian rhythm what is the circadian rhythm for the best night's sleep? So we want you to get the most out of your daytime activities and your nighttime rest. I had a client email me the other day where he was saying, I'm all off track. I feel like I'm gaining weight. My stress levels are increasing. And it was interesting. My comment back was, okay, how much screen time are you getting lately? What is your outdoor time? I actually intuitively, for this person, went to are you getting outside during the day? So think about that as a way to regulate yourself. And I know, when you're out walking or you're out in nature, think of a time when you've been an extended time in nature. How was your sleep that night? There's also less noise, different noises, more oxygen. So that fresh air nature, you need to get exposed to. So we want to adjust your activities to the optimal times of day in sync with your circadian clocks. When you eat when you metabolize food most efficiently, it's not during the night. Be active when your brain and body are functioning at their peak levels. So when do you exercise? When do you get your focused work time in the day? And then get the right amount of sleep at the right time so that you can do it all again tomorrow. And we're saying we don't want you going to bed at 1 a.m. What is the right time to get to bed? We'll tell you more about that.
Yeah, so we're going to go into the optimal times, so this is we had this slide from yesterday that we're just going to recap again today because it kind of goes into depth in terms of, detail into those different pieces. So we're talking about eating. When is the best time to eat? So we know that our metabolism and our digestive system is working optimally during the daylight hours. So whether that's, and it does shift a bit from summer and winter, especially where we are, right? We do have a huge change there, but you want to be eating during the daylight hours. So whether that's from 6 to kind of 6 or 7 p.m., that's the optimal time for that. And then in terms of sleeping, like we know that, so here you see at 2 a.m. the deepest sleep. So that's when at 2 a.m. that's when you want to be in the deepest level of sleep. That's when your melatonin secretion is going to be at its highest level. And so in order to be in the deepest level of sleep there, you want to have been in bed for a couple hours to get there. So optimally, you're kind of asleep between 10 and 11, we'll say, to get into that deep state of sleep with that optimal hormone production overnight. And then the other thing we wanted to highlight was the exercise. So when is the best time to exercise? So in this graph, you're going to see that at 5 p.m., they see the best muscle strength and cardiovascular efficiency. So we do see muscle strength the best. However, you can also get also exercising in the morning can be really great too, because we have the highest testosterone secretion, which also helps with muscle building, and also to support the cortisol curve. So kind of probably first thing in the morning or late afternoon, you really just want to avoid it like hard exercise right before bed, because that's going to make it much harder to fall asleep as well.
And we'll talk more about exercise tomorrow, but people don't want to do a big resistance training workout first thing in the morning, right? So there are better times to do certain activities. And one second.
And I think too, like exercise is one of the ones, same with getting outside, where it's like whenever we know that it's important. So it's whenever you feel best doing it, do it. But just in terms of the supporting sleep and the optimal hormone times, these are some great times to kind of add it in. And then,
I just wanted to make a funny comment. I think my ghrelin has been eating my leptin. Thank you, Patricia. That made me giggle.
Oh my God, you can totally pick. Ghrelin just seems like a little monster. It's so funny.
Yes, it does.
Okay, so now we're going to chat. So what are these hormones for sleep, for wellness, and that are going to support weight loss? So we're going to dive into progesterone, cortisol, and melatonin. And then we're going to start with progesterone, which is one of our favorite hormones.
Your baby.
Yeah. So just as a recap, progesterone is really, we hear of it as our luteal phase hormone. So the luteal phase is, remember, we break out the menstrual cycle. This is for a menstruating, like if you're menstruating right now, then you have 2 weeks, which are the follicular phase, and then 2 weeks, which are the luteal phase. So the luteal phase is from ovulation to your next period. And so that's when progesterone is produced. So we think of progesterone as our calming anti-anxiety hormone, and that's because it interacts with our GABA receptors, which is our main kind of inhibitory neurotransmitter. So when it comes to sleep, it has a really sedative quality. So a lot of when we have high levels of progesterone, we kind of notice that we can sleep for a longer period of time. And this does become, we've talked a lot in the group about, or there's been lots of commentary about like perimenopause and menopause. And this is definitely where progesterone comes into play in terms of sleep, because we have lower levels of progesterone during perimenopause and menopause, which can definitely affect sleep. Although also in practice, it's not just at those times of like the life cycle. This is something that we do commonly see in practice, is low levels of progesterone, which can often be the root cause of stress, which is then impacting the ability to get that long quality of sleep.
And not a lot of people know about GABA. So this progesterone GABA link, it's so important to understand. I think it's easy to know what melatonin is, less commonly understood as GABA. To know that melatonin and GABA both help your sleep. And so in the absence of progesterone or in lower progesterones in menopause, you can target different things. So coming in at the GABA end, I know we prescribe GABA a lot, and there's different forms of GABA and different dosings. There's different botanicals that have a GABA effect. And so that's a really good one to know if your progesterone's going low. It's not just about how can I get my progesterone up? Do I need to take bioidentical hormones? There are other ways to do it. Mm-hmm. And I always think about Kira when I see the word parasympathetic, because I remember an exercise she walked us through way back that I just really resonated with. It's when you're looking at a sunset or even sunrise, you feel calm, immediately calm. It's because your brain and your visual field is opening to see the whole perspective. You're not just hyper focused on that one thing or that boat in the water or the problem in the day that was causing anxiety. When you look at a beautiful scene like a sunset, you're taking it all in, and it's moving you from a sympathetic state, which is the focusing on one problem and hyper focused, anxious. It's moving you to that parasympathetic state, which is your rest and digest and calming state. Thinking of progesterone as your calming hormone, pair it now with GABA and your parasympathetic mode.
Yeah, and even that horizon activity too, like it's so fascinating, because if you think about what most of us are looking at all day is like a phone, and like your focus couldn't be more directed to something. So that's also what causes that sympathetic fight or flight state. So yes, looking out into the horizon and then opening up that periphery field to activate the parasympathetic.
Mm-hmm. Perfect parasympathetic and progesterone. And PM, cortisol. Cortisol, it really impacts your sleep. And by PM cortisol, we mean evening cortisol. And it's important to understand the rhythm between evening and morning cortisol. We want your evening cortisol to be low, calm, ready for bed, and then overnight you get a good night's sleep. It helps you build your fuel tank of cortisol reserves so that when you wake up in the morning, boom, your cortisol can go high. You're ready to go. You have energy. And so making sure your cortisol is lowering at night is important. Oftentimes when we test cortisol levels, we see there might be low overall, like a flat line. The Dutch test is really good for showing this, a flat line of cortisol or too high of cortisol. But what we often see is a spike at night, which means you've just reversed your circadian pathway. You want to have high cortisol in the morning and it comes down in a curve before bed. What happens when sleep goes off, cortisol rises at the wrong time. It's like it shifts. So now you're peaking cortisol throughout the night. And so it's a reversed circadian rhythm. Remember that progesterone metabolizes to cortisol. When you're stressed, you're going to increase your cortisol. So maybe before bed, stress arises. We also see cortisol peaking when kids come home from school, right? Or, whatever stress is in the evening. So then you are going to bed, you get that rise. You're going to deplete all your cortisol, which then your body's smart. It has corrective mechanisms. So again, speaking to trusting your body, even don't think that, oh gosh, there's just too much to do here. Trust your body, encourage its own natural rhythms. So what happens is when your body makes too much cortisol, it says, help, help. It calls progesterone down to give you more cortisol, to manage the stress. And oftentimes that's what causes this low progesterone effect. And we want to do everything possible to encourage your calming pathway to work again. And blood sugar balance. Kira, you go.
Yeah. And I was going to say to that point too, the way to do that is to activate that parasympathetic state. So when you activate the parasympathetic state, then you're encouraging that progesterone and cortisol balance. And then we wanted to touch on the blood sugar balance, cortisol and insulin connection. And so this does kind of speak to how chronic levels of stress can impact metabolism and cause weight gain long term. And so what's happening is just with like when cortisol is released, it actually causes blood sugar to be released from your cells. Because you think about it, if you're in fight or flight, you're running away from a tiger. So then the cortisol is being released, and then there's going to be a blood sugar imbalance. And so it just means that there's kind of miscommunication between the cells and the utilization of glucose. So that kind of speaks to how that long-term stress piece can impact our metabolism and our weight. And then the inflammation piece as well, right? Because cortisol is trying to kind of balance it's acting anti-inflammatory to an extent, trying to manage inflammation in the body, but then too much of anything just causes dysregulation in the system.
I have a question for everyone. Is your experience of stress, do you find it's more mental based stress, or is it physical based stress, or is it environmental? This is really important to know, that you may feel calm, easygoing, I'm not stressed, but is your body stressed? That is causing cortisol to rise. And body stress, we mean inflammation. Weight, right? That's inflammation in your body. It is a stress. Asking your body to put out the fire. So your cortisol hose to put out that fire, that depletes your cortisol, which then depletes your progesterone.
Yeah, a lot of people commenting here, like mental stress, inflammation.
Just shutting my door with it.
Physical. I mean, I think in our day and age as well, like so much of it is the mental pressures that we have. And then I think a lot of the environmental stuff is more is also the stress that we're putting on our body. Because even like we've been talking so much about this light stuff, and just the amount of blue light that our bodies are being exposed to every single day, the screens, the constant go, like that's just like these are chronic stresses that our bodies are dealing with.
Yeah. Which is now melatonin and your metabolism. So melatonin, why I just love melatonin right now. It's more than your sleepy hormone. It is your antioxidant, a master antioxidant. You can never overdose on melatonin. And it is, even though your body makes it, you can take more. Some people don't respond well to melatonin. That's another issue. But just, I guess our point here is melatonin is more than your sleepy hormone. It's actually a master antioxidant as well. And a fat burner. So by melatonin being an antioxidant, it's stimulating your mitochondria to work better, which is going to improve how you utilize energy. And so by getting your antioxidants or your antioxidant oxidant balance in check, you'll have healthier mitochondria, you'll have lower inflammation, and that's going to help with your sleep and then with your energy and metabolism the next day.
Yeah, melatonin is so fascinating. Like the amount of research there is on melatonin for so many different conditions, from like digestive stuff and IBS even. Like there's data for melatonin in all areas. And I think a lot of that is this antioxidant potential. But also interestingly, we do know in studies that as we age, our melatonin amount does decline as we're aging. So it is something that we do want to keep in mind in terms of how to boost those melatonin levels. So whether it's by the things that we've been talking about with like the light strategies and things like that, or if it's right for you, talk to your healthcare provider, but maybe supplementing with melatonin as well.
I have to give a plug for melatonin suppositories right now. And it was a birthday present that I gave Kira too. Have you used it yet?
I did.
Did you? Okay, tell me. We're going candid here right now.
Yeah, no, it was great. Like I do respond really, really well to melatonin. So I felt like it really helped me get into like a good state of sleep. I didn't feel any grogginess the next day at all. Like I thought it was great. And it's crazy because it's a really, really high dose when you
It's
do get it.
200 milligrams of melatonin. So a normal dose of melatonin is 3 to 20 milligrams. People usually err on the 3 to 5 milligrams.
Yeah.
So this is 200 milligrams in a rectal suppository. That's what I give my friends for their birthdays. But it's really fascinating, just the health benefits. And yeah, the non-grogginess the next day. Both Kira and I are fascinated by circadian rhythm, as you're hearing here. And so these melatonin suppositories, the purpose is to reset your metabolism, or sorry, reset your circadian rhythm. And that has direct impact to your metabolism. That's something we're going to talk about more individually, but something to ask us about and to try if you're up for it.
Yeah, because there was a question about like taking melatonin the best time. So you would take it before bed to help kind of stimulate that, to help you fall asleep. And again, the dosing question, like it does, because as Dr. Tara mentioned, like some people do not respond great to it. So it's it's about working with a practitioner to find like the right dose for you, because not everyone responds well to it, and the dose is different person to person.
And knowing where to come in on the pathway of melatonin. Did you know that serotonin breaks down and is metabolizes to melatonin? We've talked about progesterone to cortisol, okay, and testosterone to estrogen. Actually, so serotonin metabolizes to melatonin. So if you're sensitive to melatonin, there's other ways you can come in on that pathway to boost up your stores. Something else I wanted to say based on what you said, Kira, but I forgot. Oh yeah, the timing of taking melatonin. So I always take it right before bed, but research shows 2 to 3 hours before you can. And if you look at that circadian clock, or that chart that we showed you and that we posted in the chat line, and the Facebook chat line, and then we'll make sure we send it in the email today. 9 p.m. is when you start your melatonin secretion. So if you're watching TV until 11 o'clock at night, blue light in front of you, you're not going to make as much melatonin, right? It's kind of, the lights are stopping that release. So getting to that lower light from 9 o'clock on is encouraging your natural circadian rhythm.
Yeah, and especially like if you do have that sleep onset issue, like you're having trouble falling asleep, then that is especially why you'd want to make sure that you're letting it, because as you see in that chart, like you need to give yourself time for that melatonin to ramp up to then feel sleepy and fall asleep. So timing also based on your sleep difficulties will matter as well.
Pulling it all together for your rhythms.
Yeah, so these were our 3 core rhythms for weight loss. This is what we introduced to you all yesterday. So today we were really focusing on the sleep portion. So that's kind of coming under our mindset subtitle of the kind of MMMs. So we covered a mindset for wellness, how important quality of sleep is, how to get a better quality of sleep. We kind of went into the melatonin, progesterone, and PM cortisol. So all of these hormones that impact sleep, and then the parasympathetic state, and how important it is to engage in activities that are going to activate that parasympathetic state to kind of support progesterone production or just lowered cortisol levels. So just kind of promoting that rest, digest, heal, calming state.
So many great nuggets that we've covered here that I can see the chat line growing of all just great things that we can jump in on. So everything we talked about today, we want to dig in and talk further about it with you, and we'll open the floor for questions shortly, and answer all the great comments that are coming through. Like, that's nuts. I'm sorry. Tamara, I take it you're talking about the suppository.
Probably the suppository gift I received.
Yeah, there's a smiley face after that comment. So the amount.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then we do have a piece of homework for everybody.
I'm excited about this homework. I love this.
Yeah, the 3, 2, 1 sleep. So why don't you introduce it, Dr. Tara?
So 3, 2, 1 sleep. What does that mean? 3 hours before bed, stop eating. And we'll touch on that further tomorrow. Tomorrow's our big nutrition and timed eating day. So 3 hours before bed, stop eating. 2 hours before bed, stop working. 1 hour before bed, stop screen time. If you eat your dinner at 7 p.m. tonight, that means at about 10 p.m. you're in bed. And so don't have a snack later on if you're prone to do that. Our modern living encourages that from very young age, that, oh, a little snack before bed. No. So you have your dinner, that's the last bite of food. We want to maximize your cellular recovery time. And so that's why 3 hours before bed, don't eat. And it will play with your body temperature if you do, which will affect your sleep. 2 hours before bed, just calm down, like nothing that's stimulating your brain too much. And then 1 hour before bed, that's stopping of screen time if you can. Try it.
Yeah, I'm curious. I'd love for you guys to put in the chat if you think that one of these will be like more challenging than the other ones. Because I feel like for all of us, there's probably something that's like a little bit more challenging to stop. I think for me, it might be the screens 1 hour before bed.
Me too. Absolutely. And I even, as I'm thinking about, okay, how am I going to do this? Because we all are playing along together right now, right? We're holding each other accountable. I was thinking what I'll do is put my phone, and I always put it on airplane before bed and Wi-Fi off, but I'm going to put it in a different room.
Yeah, I definitely am good with the phone. I don't put it in the room, but I just find it hard. I mean, it's hard for us this week too, because we're prepping for all this stuff. Yeah. So it's like, we've got to be the screens off an hour before bed.
I actually loved in a client visit an exercise that came up, because this could be a bonus piece of homework. I'm adding it in. We talked about making a bed for your phone, like putting your phone in bed. And I actually went online to Amazon and looked up little doll beds that would fit a phone. I thought that would be really great. I might more likely, use that or have some fun with it. So we talked about getting a shoebox, and this person had children, and decorating the shoebox as the phone's bed, and then making an activity, like getting your kids involved with it too, of, okay, or your partner or whoever, that, if you see me on my phone, let's make it fun. Instead of put your, like, no phone or get it away and it becomes a guilt thing, make it fun. So no, we're putting the phone to bed, get a little blanket, whatnot. So.
Oh yeah, and someone said here, you mentioned not reading before bed. So what do you do for that last hour? But I think for the last hour, you can read a regular book. You just don't want to have like a screen, like you're not reading it on like an iPad or on a screen. And then we did mention earlier, no book in that 20 minutes to fall asleep, but that's when you're actually in bed, like trying to fall asleep. So then everything is off at that point.
Yeah. Okay.
And then
3, 2, 1. Okay, so tomorrow, before we get to the questions, tomorrow is day 3. This is all about cellular health, nutrient absorption, and timed eating. And so one question is time restricted eating right for you? We'll answer what is time restricted eating or timed eating. What is the best window of eating? So these might be new terms for you, and they're really important to understand. We'll walk you through it. Cellular health. So micronutrients for digestive health, from digestive enzymes to actually melatonin and other things that help your digestive processes. So you'll absorb the most nutrients to help your cellular health, which helps your circadian rhythms. We'll share how digestive enzymes, proteins, fats, carbs, and fiber can help or hinder weight loss. Which nutrients are needed for ATP, which is your cellular energy for weight loss. How oxidative stress and inflammation block your metabolism, body temperature for weight loss. We'll continue on that. We did touch on it today. And then just overall cellular maintenance mechanisms for your metabolism. It's very exciting. We also have a guest speaker tomorrow who will guide us through a mobility exercise for weight loss, that you can do this routine every day. It's just a 5-minute routine. Okay. Points and prizes, just a quick reminder. We love your comments. Please keep them up. It's nerve-wracking for us doing this presentation in ways. It's a lot of prep work, and we try to get our knowledge out to you in such a way. So it's challenging, and we're outside of our comfort zone in ways. And so when we see your comments, it just it inspires us and really helps us know we're making an impact. So 1 point for a positive comment on anyone's post. You'll notice when you give a positive comment, you feel that energy yourself. 3 points for posting or sending us your completed homework. So we received some great homework yesterday. And then tonight, try that 3, 2, 1 sleep, and we'll be asking how it went tomorrow. 5 points for referring someone to join or to listen to the recordings. Forward the email. We're still growing our amazing community here. 7 points for sharing your story. We love those. And so thank you for those who have shared that with us, because it does give us content for our presentations to make sure we touch on. And then the great prizes that you can win are the Dutch test, our favorite hormone assessment test, and also a red light device.
Yeah, so exciting.
All right, let's get to the questions. I'm just going to open to us here. Great. Now I can see the chat more easily.
Yeah, so if you guys have any questions, you can put them into the chat or the Q&A box. And then also, if you're watching this on Facebook, you can put it into the comments there as well.
Great. Okay, we'll go to the question Q&A. Oh, people are just activated in the chat line. They're not posting questions in the Q&A here. Okay, it's all in the chat line today. Where do we start?
Oh, I see this. This is more of a comment, but need to stop the function on Netflix that automatically starts the next episode.
Oh, yeah.
That is.
Yes, having some discipline not to watch. Oh my gosh, the Kevin Costner show. I forget the name of it.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
Yes, someone will put it in the chat line for us. Okay. Oh, there's Mom. Thank you for all your work. Very informative. Thanks, Mom. Which melatonin supplement do you recommend? Ooh, okay. The suppositories, worth trying. No, liquid. I love liquid melatonin. I find it absorbs under the tongue, and you can have a lesser dose for more effect. But capsules are great too. Do you have a favorite form, Kira?
So yeah, when I work with patients, I usually am doing the liquid one too, because especially when they're spray, you can titrate the dose. So you can titrate to find like the right one that's for you.
Yes. Last night I sprayed seven sprays, and then I had to go and get something else. And my partner said, "What are you doing? You're going to take too much." He said, "I'm out. There was nothing in that spray.
I can take a lot.
It was done. I need what's on your nightstand." Yellowstone. Thank you, Patricia.
Yeah, it's Yellowstone.
Good. We're waiting for season 4.
Someone asked, does taking melatonin suppress the natural production of it? And it actually doesn't. So it won't suppress like your own production of making melatonin. Melatonin has a really quick half-life, so it just kind of cycles out quite quickly.
That's a comment I hear all the time of, I was told not to take too much melatonin, it offsets my own hormone production. So it's great to restate that it does not, and go for the antioxidant benefit of melatonin. There were some questions about bioidentical hormones, and I can't find it now in the.
Oh, pros, cons. Yeah. I mean,
yes.
That's definitely kind of outside the scope of this conversation, just because there's a lot to talk on bioidentical hormones. It's a form of hormone replacement therapy. But yeah, definitely chat to your practitioner about that.
And I like to say, before getting to that, what are your basics? What are your foundations for wellness? It's going back to what we said about pandemic and how it encouraged people to slow down and focus in on simple things like hydration and bedtime and quiet, and our connection with people. And so there are so many other aspects to wellness. And I find just going to a hormone right away is not the right answer. It's important to do this foundational work. It just can be a little harder, but it's not really. It's actually easy. It's just our mindset that thinks we need a quick fix to get back on track. It's slow and steady, consistent things that you do.
So tonight you're going to start with the 3-2-1 sleep.
Yes.
So I think that's it. I think that's all the questions for now. And then
what's the best starting dose to avoid sluggishness for melatonin? I see that. Starting with the spray form, it's actually 1 milligram per spritz in a common one we use here. So if I was taking 7 sprays, that's 7 milligrams. So you start at 1, maybe go to 3.
NFH one?
Pardon?
The NFH one is 1. Okay.
1 milligram per
spritz. Okay.
I'll double check it. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, again, it really is individual. So I would start with like a low dose, like Dr. Tara is saying, and then go up from there just to see so that you don't get the grogginess the next day.
Yeah, and that I don't know why right now. I'm still researching it. Why the grogginess doesn't happen with the suppository?
Right. Yeah, that's a good question. Yeah, because it's such a high dose and you're not getting any of the grogginess.
Mm-hmm. Remember about GABA? We talked about that. Great thing to look at your plan. One botanical, or yeah, it is a botanical we love here, is lavender. Lavender actually acts on your GABA receptors. And so it's more than just lavender spray in a scented form. There's actually capsules of lavender that have that GABA stimulating effect, and it works really well.
Yeah, so I mean, if you guys have any more questions, you can pop them. You can email us, hormonechallenge@higherhealthcenter.com, or you can post them in the Facebook group. And then we're really looking forward to seeing you tomorrow, seeing how that 3-2-1 sleep goes. And then again, we'll address any questions tomorrow that we didn't get to today.
Sleep well.
Yeah.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.